Hi, and thanks for joining us at this event, Synthesthesia. I'm Enrico from IK Multimedia, and I'm here to present our new arrived in the range of Uno products, which is the Uno Synth Pro, the new analog synthesizer. Today I wanted to present you this unit I'm gonna try a different way, like creating the preset that you just heard, maybe with even some differences. So I'm gonna go through all the parts that compose this sound. To do so, I'm gonna initialize the preset. Am I sure? Yes, let's try it. Okay, so now our synth is completely initialized, so we can start from our basic sawtooth. So let's talk about the oscillator section. So now we have again our sawtooth on oscillator 1. Our oscillators are continuous wave shaping oscillators, so the range goes from a triangle wave to a sawtooth, then go to the pulse, and then we can choose the pulse width of the pulse. For oscillator 1, I'm going to choose the triangle wave, and then we can move on with the other two oscillators later on, as soon as I add it. Of course, all three of the oscillators have this possibility of wave shaping. Then I'm gonna, of course, increase the level of the oscillator 1. Then we have our triangle wave. Now, to create the sounds that you just heard, I use the second filter, because you must know that Uno Synth Pro has two analog filters. One is the original OTA from the original Uno Synth, a little bit improved in stability, a little bit fatter, and it is a multi-mode filter, 2-pole, with capability of being a low-pass filter or an high-pass filter. And it can be switched in phase, and you're gonna understand why as soon as I talk about the second filter. The second filter is an SSI chip-based filter with selectable slope between 2-pole and 4-pole, with the possibility to be routed as in series or in parallel to the other one. So as soon as you change the phase of the first filter, you're gonna have different results when in parallel. But let's go back to our sound. So what I did in that sound was to use, let's hold this note, was to use the resonance to capture the overtones that I wanted. Yes, let's go another. But then I took the first filter and I select the high pass. So as you can see, you can hear the second filter out oscillating. And here we have the filter number 1. Yeah, that is a place that I like to. I'm not gonna put any filter tracking for this sound, meaning the cutoff of the cutoff frequency of the filters are not going to follow the pitch that I'm playing on the keyboard, but that is only for the purpose of this sound. As soon as you want to create more normal, let's put it this way, sounds, more conventional sounds, like I don't know, vintage vibe, lead sound, you can use the filter tracking that is present inside the filter menu. So with amount that goes from plus minus 200%. So at 100% is gonna follow the octave 100%. At 200%, the cutoff frequency is gonna follow double the range of the octave. So I'm not going to use that, as I said, so I'm going to put it 0, going back on our sound. So now, to modulate the filter frequency, I use this external sequencer because one of the nice feature of the Synth Pro is the connections. The connection that we have apart from the standard MIDI in and out, with the out as the soft through, the balanced output, audio in and phones. We have two couple of CV. A couple of CV and gate input and a couple of CV gate output. And I'm gonna use the CV input to use this external sequencer and modulate the frequency of the cutoff. And I'm gonna do it like that in 1. Yes. So. To select how to send this external control to the cutoff filter, we're going to use the modulation matrix. The modulation matrix in the Synth Pro is a 16 slot matrix that gives you the capability of connecting quite almost all of the pieces that compose the Synth Pro to go to any kind of destination, which again are kind of all the parts that compose the instrument, ranging from the tuning of the oscillator, the cutoff frequency again, the rate of the LFO. So the most simple example is trying to use the modulation wheel to, I don't know, modulate a vibrato effect given by the LFO, or the cutoff frequency of one of the filter, of both of the filter, depending on what is your purpose in creating a sound. For this time, I'm gonna use the CV in 1, which I connected which is where I connected the external sequencer to the filter to cutoff. So as soon as I press play, for example, and I increase the amount, yeah, you can see if I change. And this is how you connect all those pieces together. But again, this is not even the start. This is just the beginning of how to create this type of sounds. So we talk about the oscillators, and I'm going to talk a little bit all about those later on when I'm going to create some nice addendum. I'm gonna do a super simple sequence in order to don't have to play, because I'm not really a good player. I admit it, I'm not really a good player. But let's do it like that. So I want in this step this note. So I'm gonna use the step recording and not the real time, just to give some insight on the steps on the step recording. So each time I insert a note in the step recording, let's, for example, clear it, and I'm going to show you it again. So now I just need to press. As you can see, the step is empty. So as soon as I press a note, I will have this note recorded into the sequencer. I'm gonna change the length of this note to have 16 step. So as soon as I press play, but of course one note might be a bit boring after a while, so I'm gonna increase the length of the sequencer. I'm gonna do it pressing Alt, so the alternative menu for the sequencer, and I'm gonna press octave up, so I'm gonna have the length to be selected by the data knob now at 64 step, which means all the 4 pages of the sequencer, and you can see I can toggle between all the pages of the sequencer. Now I'm gonna copy the step, and then paste it in the other slots, in the other steps on the other pages. So, and then I'm gonna change the note which is recorded. So for example, I'm gonna go, I don't know, maybe no, let's do it, yeah, like that. See, why not? Kind of like it. I'm gonna go and 3, I'm gonna do, yeah, like that, and then why not? Nothing fancy, I must admit, but it's gonna became a little bit more interesting later on. So as you can see, as you can hear, the auto oscillation of the first filter is kind of not interfering, but it's coming along with the frequency of the oscillators. And as soon as I'm gonna turn up a second oscillator, synthesis, find the sweet spots that were sounds amazing. So I'm gonna tune the second oscillator up 1 octave. I'm gonna tune the first oscillator down an octave. Okay, I kind of like it. And I'm gonna also sync the first oscillator, the third oscillator. I'm gonna show you why in a second, because what I want to do. First, let's talk about the hard sync on the oscillator. So, oscillator 2 and oscillator 3 can be hard synced to oscillator 1, meaning that the phase of the waveform are gonna be cycling in sync with oscillator 1. So now, if I, for example, modulate the tune of the third oscillator that now is in sync with the first, I'm gonna have a kind of more metallic sound, and get more interest in the sound. So I'm gonna go on our modulation matrix, select the modulation number 2. I'm gonna use the filter envelope to modulate the filter 3 tuning. Yes, let's do it like that. I'm gonna go and already change the filter envelope. Okay, kind of like it. I'm gonna change a little bit the amp release of the synth. Talking about envelopes, we have two envelopes: a filter envelope, as you have just shown, and an amp envelope. Both of the envelope can be looped, and maybe I'm gonna show you later on how to use that. And those, apart from being already pre-wired to the filter envelope to the filters and the amp envelope to the amp, you can use those as modulation in any other places of the synth. So let's try to also add that to the filter one, so we're gonna have this wow sound. Love it. I'm also gonna add an LFO, so I'm gonna go again on my modulation matrix, select the LFO number 1, and I'm gonna use it to modulate the filter cutoff. Okay, so as you saw, I'm selecting LFO 1 because we have two LFOs completely. Those LFOs are the same, one another. Both of the LFOs have selectable wave between the sine, triangle, ramp down, ramp up, a square wave, random, love random, sample and hold, and noise. With selectable rate. When it's not synced, it goes from 0.01 Hertz, so really slow, up to 100 Hertz, which is, yes, we are already in the audio range, so you can kind of create also FM type of sounds. And talking about FM, also our oscillator can be frequency modulated. Oscillator 2 and oscillator 3 can be frequency modulated by oscillator 1. And I'm gonna do it like now. So I'm gonna increase the amount of FM to oscillator 2. Let's see, I didn't try it before, so I'm gonna hear it for the first time too. Which I kind of like it, and I'm gonna leave it like that. So now that I create a sound with all three of the oscillator available in the Uno synth, and I used both of the filter. Talking about the filters, I wanted to put the modulation the mod wheel to control the cutoff frequency of filter 1. Again, I'm gonna go on the modulation matrix. Okay, kind of like it. Okay. Now, an interesting part of the synthesizer is, are the effects. I'm going to increase a little bit the drive amount, which is an analog drive, so literally 2 diodes, which are kind of aggressive as soon as you turn it up in a high level. So let's hear it. You can make any screen, but I'm gonna go around here. Okay. But then we have 3 digital effects. The digital effects are not insert on the sound because the Synth Pro has a complete analog path. So meaning that there's no AD coming, AD/EDA coming along. The 3 type of effects that we have are modulation, delay, and reverb. On the modulation section we have chorus, phaser, and flanger. On the delay we have 5 different delays I'm going to show you later on, and on the reverb we have 4 different reverb, and all of those algorithms are coming from our well-known softwares. But again, those algorithms were specifically designed for the synth, and yes, they sound amazing. Let me show you. So this is the chorus. I'm gonna try to use the flanger. Let's see how it goes. Ooh, so the flanger is not that bad. Music feedback negative. Like it, but I might prefer the chorus to stay over. I love these chorus. I mean, those chorus are based on the ensemble that you can find in the in Syntronic or in Mixbox. Go and check it out. Really nice. Then we have the delay. Regarding delays, maybe we have different type. We have the mono, the stereo delay, a doubler. I really love the doubler. The ping pong, a left, center, right, which is also super interesting. And I'm gonna go for the ping pong one. But then I'm gonna also add some reverb on that. Now I'm gonna give a little bit more reverb than I'm supposed to, but I love it, so that's okay. I'm gonna go back on the reverb and select the plate type because I really like, and increasing a little bit the sound, and maybe have a longer pre-delay, have at least 6 seconds. Love long reverb on synthesizer. And I'm gonna use the filter, which is a low pass filter in the input of the reverb, and I'm gonna decrease a little bit the high frequency. So I'm gonna cut a little bit the high frequency, so the buzziness of the analog oscillator are not gonna get confused by the reverb. Increasing a bit the reverb. And now I'm gonna play So technically you can do the same modulation that I'm creating with the external sequencer in the internal sequencer, but just by pressing the step that you want and turning the knob, you're gonna record the modulation for that step. But I thought it was funnier to do it with an external with an external sequencer, just to show off a little bit the capability of the CVs. Now, what else we can do? Well, we can mess up with the sound for the last minutes.